kind of like reconciliation of faith and like whether the Christian God but being able to see that God everywhere. And then and then people wrestling like I kind of that reconciliation piece where they lost faith coming back into faith, but the new faith is more of like open. It's here, it's around me. But that they still see that and feel that God, that same God that they saw before, but in different things. And it's about wrestling with that. And I think it's pretty neat. And it goes deeper than kind of exploring that with them, but it's kind of bringing that to their attention that they feel guilty that they're outside of nature and just feel God. And I'm like, and see God in everything and in people. And so they wrestle with that. They wrestle with that like uneasy feeling of like, can we do, can
is this allowed?
Yeah. Because like, God is a, man God, is he physical? Is he not? All those things. And so it's kind of like, again, they're feeling the presence of this God that they knew before, lost faith, and then they get back, that faith, but now it's more present in everything. And so it's confusing.
That I remember in comparative religion school, really like kind of resisting that urge to put things into the categories of monotheism and polytheism. When then they were explaining that, and I was just going through and I'm like, yeah, but what religious tradition is alive where these things are as separate as you're trying to make them? I mean, there's, Hinduism, which most people would say is polytheistic. Some of the earliest Vedas are the guy going to ask the gods, like, how many gods are there really? And he's like, 900. And then he's like, no, really, how many are there? And Vishnu's like, okay, fine, it's 30. And he's like, no, but really, how many are there? And he's like, oh, it's 5. And they just manifest as more as you need them. And he's like, no, really, how many are there? And he's like, there's one. It's just me. It's all me,
Yeah.
And then there's tons of, Christian mystical traditions where you see other people, finding like Gnosticism, you're finding like the spark of God in other people and like actualizing that by putting it together and building community. Like you can't do that alone. You're seeing the world is sort of alive in like the presence of God. So it's like, I don't know, like I get that if you treat it like a country club and you're like, I'm just going to drive my chromed out SUV to the mega church and then I'm going to go to the Cheesecake Factory and it's religion as a country club. Like, yeah, okay. But when the tradition is actually participatory and sort of breathing, are those things ever separate in anything? I mean, I'm thinking of like the Aztec story where
they all get down to like having started with a mystical tradition that was based in this idea that we are all one and you are God and we're all God.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets taken over by like a structure of religion that kind of squelches that. And it's like, no, you can't like actually, like, we can't tell everybody that they can connect with God. We can't tell them that. And like, then the masculine structures come in and squelch it.
Mm-hmm.
But it starts with that kind of realization that people have had like over time, like of that same kind of click that your individual clients are having too, of that click of like, whoa, like we're one. And like, how does it feel walking around? Like, what is the walking around effect of like really living that? What does it feel like?
Well, and even Buddhism, which is pretty, most traditions of Buddhism are pretty atheistic. Like they're skeptical even of consciousness and say it's this kind of illusion that's been created.
Right.
But even they have this idea that like you see the divine in one spot intensely so that you can learn to see it everywhere. That is the point of the encounter. And what is it? It may be apocryphal, but I've read it a couple of times. There's that story where the Spanish conquistadors are like making the Aztec warriors like smash the temple. And there's like the stone figures and they smash it and they're like, yeah, look, your gods are gone. You have to be Christian now. And they're like, these are just rocks. Like the gods have been dead forever. Like, and the conquistadors are like, what? Like, yeah, no, the moon god, like this is just like, these are pieces of her body. And like chaos is always in this cycle. And we just have to sort of do these rituals to remind ourselves that it works that way. And like the Spaniards have like no comprehension of like that kind of cosmology,
Right. Yeah. They were in a different realm of consciousness, and it was kind of, can't explain.
Yeah, they did have.
Can't explain it to the
guns,
conquistadors.